We are live. What's up, everybody? As you can see, I have with me here today Miss Shay 24K. It's super awesome to have you on the show. This is Bridge the Gap. My name is Holden Stephan Roy, and basically, what we do here is we talk to interesting people such as yourselves and go through your life a little bit and learn some knowledge nuggets along the way. So it's super
Cool.
So it's super good to have you here. And I was hoping we could start this off and you could just take a quick second to like introduce yourself and just let the people know where you're from, like where your life starts at that phase.
Like the beginning?
Like the very beginning of it. It's gonna tie into the next question, so it's gonna make sense.
Okay, cool. Well, my name's Shay 24K. Um, I'm originally from BC, but I grew up in Toronto area and GTA, and I'm a singer-songwriter. I like R&B. I used to rap, but I mean, now I just focus on the R&B and the pop vibes.
That's cool. We're gonna get
Yeah,
into
I came from a long line of musicians too. My dad,
yo,
he's a
we're gonna
musician. He's
let me ask this question, right? Because we're
okay,
gonna
go
get
ahead.
into that. Because I'm glad you're going there. Because we're gonna get into that really proper. So check it. I have my
Okay, cool.
opening question that I ask everybody. Shout out A1 Manager for the follow. Because we're live a little bit. But so it starts like this. My girlfriend one time, she's washing the dishes and she's playing that Black Eyed Peas song on her phone. The I got a feeling. Ooh. She's vibing. She's like doing her thing and I'm looking at her as she's doing that, and I ask myself, when the fuck did this song become chores music? Right? Because like if you think about this track in particular, people now throw it on when they're like working out, when they're doing some stuff. Maybe they're a little bored in their life and they're trying to go back to a fun place. And I say that because for a lot of us, run that track back 10 years, that is like a party track. It's like it's vibes. It's like a whole thing.
Hmm.
10 years goes by, song doesn't change at all because it's a song, but now it's this whole new context in our lives, which got me thinking about life, right? So for all the little ones running around, they're partying and doing their thing. They don't know that that's the chores music. They don't know that right now everybody else is washing dishes to the music they're turning up to. And that was just like a big thing for me because of the evolution process. So I started thinking about us as like musical types and people, and we start thinking about the stories of folk and how often they'll start off in like this adolescent place. And we're glad you went right back with it, but most times people start off in like this adolescent place, like, oh, I first discovered hip-hop at this, oh, I first started to, and it's like it's a good place, but really, like, if you think about music, right, it really is from the beginning of time. Like, you came out in a hospital somewhere and there's probably a song playing in the room level of beginning of time, and then as time went on, you had no real control over the situation. Music still playing around you. Like, I can remember being like 5 years old and my dad's got the gray boxes, the amp, the radio, the tape deck, all this stuff, the speakers with the wires going everywhere, and he'd be busting like Led Zeppelins and shit during the day. At nighttime it's like Montreal club music live from the clubs and stuff. And then my mom, she's more discos and more like other kinds of vibes like that, musicals, TV stuff. And it, like, it creates this like ambiance as you're like growing up with it. So that's why I was hoping you could like run it back and walk us through not just like just the whole vibe of being young, like the technology, the experience. Like if your parents are musicians, like just take some time and walk us through that experience so that we can get to know the foundational elements of Shay 24K.
Cool. So yeah, my I come from a line of musicians actually. So my dad, he's a artist. He does tributes to Bob Marley. And when I was younger, he used to tour around Canada and um like perform Bob Marley songs. And I would go on stage with him and kind of like experience what stage life, what tour life was.
Like how
And my
old are
grandpa
you?
also. I think I was like 3, the earliest that I remember hanging out with him and being on stage and stuff. But my grandpa too, he's a calypso artist in Trinidad, Lord Superior. He just passed away a couple of years ago. But same thing with my dad. My dad watched him growing up do music, performing, and all of that stuff too. So I kind of grew up with it. It's in my blood, definitely, to do music and to be around it. I grew up with it. It's a passion for sure.
So like when you were young, as you were like on stage, were you like already just singing, dancing, getting into the vibe, or was it more just like something that was happening around you?
Well, my dad, he played in a band, so I would go on stage and I wasn't really performing with them, but I was just kind of up there with my dad because my dad was a singer. So I'd go on stage and dance around and just be cute and silly. I was kind of like the dressing on the cake, you know? Like you have to add like a cute little muffin on stage to kind of bring the people in and then they stay to listen to the music. No, I'm just kidding. He's like actually a good artist, but that's what I like to think.
Nah, it definitely worked out like that. I've seen every dad I know bust out the kid to try to get people to listen to their music, so it's absolutely a move. Um, so like when you were young, was your mom also into music? Was like a big thing in the family, or was it really like your dad performing? And then like outside of that, was it a prevalent force?
Yeah, my mom, she was really into music too. She really loved R&B, which is why I listen to a lot of R&B still to this day. Like Lauren Hill is one of my favorite singers. Erica Badu, even like Missy Elliott. I listen to that stuff still to this day. That was her vibe. So I feel like she influenced a bit of my R&B style because my dad was definitely more reggae. But my dad influenced like the instruments, the actual passion and drive behind music.
And like, when did you start like playing instruments or anything when you were young?
Yeah, when I was young, I played in like I was in church choir, I played in bands, I played guitar from when I was like 11, 12 years old. And I taught myself how to play keyboard too when I was young. So I was always like really into music. Instruments were always around me. So I had no excuse not to pick them up and try them out.
How did you teach yourself to play? Was it like you just figured it out, or?
Yeah, well, because like when you listen to songs, you kind of can feel out the notes or hear the notes. So I don't think like I'm like Mozart and I can just play by ear anything, but I would definitely try to like listen to the notes and try to like fill out the songs that I would hear and listen to. And that's how I learned how to play the keyboard and piano. I took lessons. I mean, guitar, I took lessons.
So you're saying that just because that's actually like super cool, that as a little one with no intervention, you're like, okay, so I got this piano here. I'm hearing this song. Let me see if I can figure this out. And you're just like
Hmm.
via trial and error teaching yourself how to like play notes and chords and etc.
Yeah. And like because I was taking guitar lessons, I feel like it made it easier for me because if you turn a guitar on the side, it's essentially like a keyboard or a piano. So the keys are the same or the notes are the same, but you're just playing it in a different style.
That's big
So it
true.
got easier to pick up the more instruments I was hearing and playing, it got easier to do over time.
That's really cool. So we got a question from Ismail asking, "What's your favorite instrument?"
That's hard because I see beauty in so many different instruments, but I think my favorite instrument sound is probably a saxophone. I love the sound and the passion and feelings that you can get from listening to a saxophone.
That is a really cool answer. I like how musically driven you are with this stuff. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you are possibly the first R&B singer I have had on my show. So it's super interesting to see where your like interests and passions lie, because it's just not the same. You're like playing instruments at like young, and you're like, I don't know. It's exciting for me. This is really cool.
Yeah,
Saxophone,
like that
like
was
the
my shit when
saxophone
I
is
was a kid.
cool. Like I never
Yeah,
think
I
about it
played
like
that
that.
in the band. I was like a band geek in high school. Even younger than high school, grade 7, 8, when you start playing band in school. The first instrument I ever picked up was the trombone because I'm real short. I'm only 4'11". So I wanted to prove to my classmates I could play the trombone, and I played for a long time, for like 2 years. And then I moved on to saxophone because I liked it better and I liked the sound. But I played a lot of instruments growing up. That was like it was a real passion of mine. But before the singing, I was more of like a band nerd. Like I wanted to play the drums, the instruments, like that type of stuff. And then
Were you
because I
into
wasn't
like
as confident when I was young.
were you like into composing stuff as well?
Not like jazz music. but I would play stuff like I would make up my own melodies on the saxophone and on the trombone and stuff, and I'd play it for like my mom and my family and everything. But I never like went out there to do like a competition or anything for it.
Yeah, but it's still songwriting. It's still fucking cool. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
I've been songwriting since I was like small. Like I can't even remember when I wrote my first song.
Ismail, she's shorter than Bonnie. That's his. That's the truth of the situation. That's my girlfriend. She's 5 feet tall. So I'm like, okay, because he asked how short it is, because he's used to the metric system, and I'm like, I don't know it in metric, but it's shorter than you would think.
Yeah, it's real short.
But that's funny that you would get the instrument just cause, like, just to prove the point. But it's so cool. How many instruments
Yeah,
can you play?
I can play quite a few, mostly brass instruments. And then guitar, keyboard, I can play, but I'm not as good as I was back in the day when I was playing them more. I feel like music is more synthesized now. But if I pick up and I play, like I can catch on pretty quick. I love guitar, piano, and brass
Hold up. When you say
instruments.
music is so synthesized, more, you mean it's harder for you to like play along because of the lack of actual instrumentations that goes into a lot of modern music?
No, I just don't play as often now
Okay.
because things are so like high tech, right? You can make any sound on the computer or
Right.
any sound in the studio, so you don't really need to pick up an instrument and play it anymore. But if I wanted to like sample my own guitar or something, I probably could do that.
That's fire, actually. Like, that is ridiculously fire. Like, when I hear people can do that, I'm like, damn, that's like a level of. Because, I don't know how to make a guitar sound like a guitar. I could maybe come up with notes in an order, but that's where you get to like some real shit. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess if you're in high school and you're pursuing the band thing and you get like that like bug for like, kind of playing music and you've been on a stage a little bit, are you like also singing at that point, or are you just like focused on the music?
When I was in high school, because I lost my mom when I was 12. So when I was in high school, I didn't even really want to sing or do anything like that because my confidence was real shot after that. So I didn't even really start singing until like again until 11th grade or 12th grade. And I remember in 11th grade, I started my own little singing project in my school where I would like perform songs at little charity events and stuff and play my guitar.
Well, that's like really cool.
Um,
Wait, tell us more about that. That's hugely ambitiously cool.
yeah. Well, my brother, he made t-shirts and stuff, so I would try to like promote his t-shirt business and like do performances within my school because I went to a lot of different schools um during my high school career. So it was kind of like almost in a sense like a way for people to get to know me because people didn't really know me like that. So I would post videos on YouTube or um, on Facebook sometimes, and I would like go to school and people would just get to know me as that girl who was always singing and doing covers. And so I started this project. It was called Open Heart Project. It was pretty corny actually.
That's not that corny now.
Um, it was back then. It was pretty corny. And I was trying to like sing and sell t-shirts and like yeah, people pretty much got to know me from that in
Like
my school.
that's fucking fire though. Still, when you like describe it to me today, I'm like, even down to the name, I'm like, that works. That would like be a hella hot name in 2021.
Yeah, it was something like it was like I don't know where I was trying to go with it back then. Um but it was a start. Like it helped me to get back out there with music and build my confidence and letting people hear me sing.
I'm also gonna say not a lot of people in high school start things just at all, let alone go out there and perform, come up with like content strategies and like try to sell some merch and like that's pretty ambitious, like really cool stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I thought like I always had like a real high ambition for music and stuff. I always thought like I was gonna be a famous singer from even when I was young. Like I would go to random cafes with my friends and do silly little performances and stuff there. I like 9, 10 years old, like the craziest ages. Like from real young. And I always would think like, oh, Beyonce is gonna see a video of me and she's gonna pick me up and something crazy is gonna happen. That's what I used to think.
I mean, it's not like a bad series of thoughts. Like to be like 9, 10 up and running a circuit of open miking, even if it's maybe not what you had in mind exactly. That's wildly cool. Like that's like you're clocking real experience at that point.
Well, thanks. Yeah, because I wanted it. That's what I wanted to do when I grew up and stuff. So I would try to stick around and do things to make me feel like I was in that direction.
I mean, it's definitely cool to hear about now. So you,
Thanks.
by the time you're done high school, you've already got a lot of shit under your belt in terms of learning how to perform and to actually hustle. Forget just performing. You already got like a whole hustle going while you're in high school. So like, what happens after that?
After high school, hmm, I don't know. I feel like I was in and out of the music game. Like I was doing more music videos and stuff for other artists, but I had a plan to it. Like I didn't want to just be like your average Instagram video girl. Like I was really going because I wanted to network with the people behind the scenes, like more so. Like I wanted to get to know the videographers. I wanted to get to know the producers. I wanted to kind of see how people's management was and like what a successful music camp would look like. So I did music videos for a few years, and you know, I fell in love with the industry and just being involved in the music videos and just the behind the scenes. And I really like always thought while I was doing it, like I would way rather do it for myself, right? But I didn't have the team around me yet to do it. Um, and then like I even went to LA. I signed to a label in LA, and they made it really difficult for me to do music. And so I had to give up for like a year
Hold on.
after high school.
That's a lot of interesting stuff you said like super quickly you packed in. Like frankly, I don't actually know that many people that know a lot about how to go about music videos the right way. Like that's like and you were there and you got all this experience doing videos. Like basically playing whatever role you played in the video based on what's new. So you're an actor in that regard, right? How do you like get
Mm-hmm.
into that? Like how do you even get into that? Like I mean, personally, and I never went down that path in life, given with all the things. But like, how does it work? A little bit. I'm super
Like,
curious.
how do you get into videos?
Yeah, like I mean, I know a lot of people can post pictures on Instagram or whatever, but like, how do you actually transition this into like a real thing that you do and like take it like do all the things you described, develop the camp? Like, what's it like? What's a good video set versus bad sets? Like, you have experience and we don't even know.
Yeah, like there was a ton of times you would go to videos and you would see like and I'm not against it either, but sometimes people would bring like their whole family, their aunts, their uncles, everybody's there and everybody has an opinion about what they want the video to look like and stuff. And it's not bad. It's just like I would see certain settings and know kind of what I wanted to shape my things around. And I like a very intimate setting when I do my videos. Like I don't like to have a bunch of people there. Even when I'm in the studio, I don't like to have too many people there. Like I just like to I'm not a rapper. Like I can't have a million a million boys and girls in the studio. I have to do it like privately. So I just like I was learning from going to the video shoots and everything, what I liked versus what I disliked. And I would get into them because yeah, I post on Instagram and I'm not like Instagram famous or anything, but I would get people reach out to me and ask me like, would you be willing to do this? And I won't lie, like there was a few videos I did that I regret, like I wish I never did them. But then there was a few videos I was in that I was like, this was a great experience. I learned a whole lot of shit from being on set with even Sean Paul and Alkaline. Like I
Say
did a video
word.
with them. Yeah, and I learned a lot. Like I learned the difference between what's professional and what's not professional and just like little things like that.
So like, What's a piece of advice you could give to people who are like getting into this? Like, what would be like stuff to watch for that's more professional?
As a model, I would be careful. Like I wouldn't go to a video shoot that has too many too many dudes on set, or like too many, gangsters or whatever it might be. Like I would just be really careful about who even you put yourself in and around videos with, because especially in Toronto, there's beef, there's politics and everything. And depending on whose videos that you're in, like you can accidentally yoke yourself into those politics, right? So I would just make sure even like you like the music. Like these are just little things, little tips that I would give girls before even doing it, because it can make or break you. Like if you're in a bad video or they make you look a certain way, it can like really ruin your rep.
Say a word. So at the end of the day, like, if the product doesn't come off right because you made a bad choice on who you work with, the video just like at a literal production level, it looks like shit. Like that could hurt your reputation because all they're gonna see is that video.
Well, it might not hurt your reputation if the video looks like, well, I feel like, yeah, maybe. Like if you're trying to really pursue a career as a model and the videos that you're in are coming out unprofessional every time, it's going to kind of taint your career. Like it's going to make you look like you're not doing your research about who you're going and dealing with before you go.
Say a word.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's really interesting. Like I never get to hear this side of it. Like I don't really talk to a lot of models. Like it just doesn't, they don't show up. I'm not like in that phase of music videoing and stuff, so it's like interesting just to hear a lot of the other stuff. I mean, I've come to learn that who you affiliate with in every field really has repercussions, but like the idea that like just at a logistical front, if they don't make you look good, it's not going to be good for you, is like something to consider. um
Yeah, because people have a lot of opinions about videos and like video girls and stuff like that too, right? But they don't think about how far you can push yourself if you really meet the right people in there. And like if you get in and get out, you could be good. You could meet a lot of connects.
I have two questions from the chat on this. One is, which is the your favorite music video that you've appeared in?
My favorite music video would be with Sean Paul and Alkaline. And mostly because, not just because it's Sean Paul and Alkaline, but just because we had a really good time filming that video. It was like a 2-day video shoot. It was like a pool party both days. We were having a lot of fun. Like I really love shooting with Sean Paul and Alkaline. They were a good time.
So it's like literally I just got to party in a pool for 2 days with direction.
Yeah, and you get paid to do it.
I mean, that part's definitely blessed as well. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds super fucking fun. Um,
Yeah, it's fun.
so like, I guess you're doing that for a while, and then you decided you met a lot of people, and you learn a lot about your version of how you want things to go. But I guess at this point, then in your head, you understand also like were you involved in shit like storyboarding?
The creation process of the video, as in like planning out the video and what it's going to be like or what the story is going to be.
Yeah.
For my videos, I do. For my videos, I try my best to be as involved as possible and to make all the ideas and to put them together the best I can. I'm not the best, I won't even lie, at styling. Like style is not really my thing. I really like to write the songs, and I really like to create the music. And sometimes I don't even remember like the songs that I wrote because I've written so many. So sometimes I'll get help from my management, or A1 helps me a lot plan my videos out. But when it comes down to the concepts and the ideas behind the videos, that's me.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, how do you like transition then, I guess, from being in the videos to like actually starting your own like career with it? Like how does that work for you?
I would say planning. Like being a musician is a business. Being an artist is a business. So just like any business, you can't go into it without a plan, without a strategy, right? So planning is like the number one way I think I turned myself around in it, because if I didn't invest in myself, or if I didn't make an effort to write all the songs that I wrote, or have an idea or a vision for what I wanted to be as an artist, then I wouldn't even be here right now talking to you.
Right.
I would probably still be doing the videos. Like, you have to have a plan. You have to have a drive and a vision of where you want to be and where you want to see your music go.
So like, I guess you develop your plan. And when do you actually like start like creating music? Like, how do you link up with who or get into the studio? Like, have you just always had access to studios and things?
Because I was doing the videos, I got the chance to meet a lot of people who were involved in the music creation process. So, um, like, I've met engineers and producers over time just being in videos. So I did know a one two people, but um, like my management, they usually set me up with people now to work with, and I kind of like review their their work and see if it's something that would fit with me.
So you let the management bang out the actual part of finding you places and things to deal with.
Yeah, like I try to focus mostly on the writing and the creation. Like that's what I like to do. Um Obviously, like I look into it and I make sure that the people are people that I would want to rock with, or like the videographers are people that I would want to rock with, but I put my trust in them a lot, because they're the force, they're the marketing, they're the people behind the scenes, right?
Right.
I'm like I'm like the face of the business, and they're the people behind me pushing it to go forward.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. How did you end up with the name Shay 24K?
Um, I don't even know how I ended up with that name. I always like to be a winner, you know? Like everybody likes to win. Everybody's on the road to win, right? Everybody's on the race to being the best. And I find like when you go through a lot of hardships and struggle, um, when you get older, like I feel like you deserve a big trophy for that. So that's why I call myself 24K, because I feel like the value behind my story is golden.
Mm, I like that. So like,
Thanks.
so if I you have all these songs out and you've been putting in the work with that, I see you guys got your Insta on lock and everything looks real polished and things. So, I guess like, have you been performing, or like when did you really like start to transition into becoming a serious artist with it?
Um, Excuse me. A couple of years ago, almost 3 years ago now, I lost my brother. So he was a really big artist, not in music, but he was a big painter. His name was Dre. And I don't know, I just feel like for so long in my life, I was there, even making the t-shirts. Like I was working alongside him, kind of like his behind the scenes. And after he passed, I didn't know what to do with all my creative energy, because I was so used to just working with Dre, being behind Dre, and like making sure Dre keeps doing his art and Dre keeps going out and selling his things, right? So after he passed, I felt like it was time for me to embrace my creativity. And even though it wasn't on canvas anymore, like I wasn't going out with him selling canvases, or trying to push a certain art piece. I was doing it for my own self, and I feel like he would be proud for that. And that's what kind of drives me to keep doing it. And especially the way that I do it now, is because of him, for real.
So then, so you start doing that at that point, and I guess how do you link up with the Green Money folk and like kind of go in that direction?
Yeah, Green Money, they actually hit me up about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, I think. And at first I wasn't even down to link with them, because I just went through a big situation with this label in Los Angeles who really tried to hold me back from even pursuing anything.
What do
Um
you mean by that? Like, I've never, I have ideas of how labels can do that, but like, it's you hear these like stories of people who want to go to LA. Like I swear I know a lot of people from Montreal dip out to LA to try to like find something. So it's interesting to hear somebody be like, so I got a deal from LA and it was not good. Like it's just a
Yeah,
perspective you
like
don't
I was
get.
just young, that's why. But I went to LA, and me and one of my good friends, we were out there, we were rapping together. Um, and rap, like back then, it wasn't even really what I was 100% passionate about. It was just that City Girls was coming out, and like I was kind of like in the game at that time. Like I was working dancing in Los Angeles, and I ended up signing to this label, but I feel like it was just a money grab. Like they seen the potential in me and my friends, so they really wanted to hold, like to have their hold on us, like basically to retain us, and to see if anything would happen with our career. But they didn't really have the resources to invest in us and to move us forward. So I ended up moving back to Toronto after that, and Green Money, GME, they were hitting me up on Instagram, and they were like, we really like your music. And this was at the beginning of COVID too. So I was recording all my music on my computer, and I was just putting it out on YouTube, like, just like basically throwaway tracks. And they were seeing them, and A1, he messaged me and he was like, I really want to link up with you, and I really want to talk about what we can do to benefit your music, because they were doing promotions and stuff before COVID with parties and everything. And I was kind of traumatized by my previous experience, so I didn't know if it was something I wanted to do. But after I linked up with them, I was like, you guys are really dope. Like you have a real vision, and like you see kind of what I want to do with my career. And they've been really good at helping me to make a plan, like I said, and to go forward. Like they've really been there every step of the way when it came to wanting to put together a mixtape or wanting to put together these videos and everything. Like they've been behind me 100%. And that's the reason why I chose to go with them and to stick with them in a deal, because I was like, you guys are really there for me, and it's not in a selfish way. Like obviously there's always going to be money in music, but I truly feel like they're like brothers to me, and they really like, they have my back. They want to see me do well, and they want to do it together. It's not a come up.
Oh, that's cool. I'm glad to hear that. Like, cause you hear a lot of like negative stories. You don't always hear like the positive stories. But as my shit gets farther in life, I'm like, say word. Management sounds like one of those things you really need, let alone want. Like it's not like a choice. Like without management, this shit's way more complicated on like every fucking level. So it's like interesting just to hear you be like, they're cool. I mean, they hit me up and I'm like, say word, I know one of your peoples. And it was like, okay. And then I did the interview with Time, and he basically said the same thing about them. So now it's two of you that are saying the same thing. That's like really dope. But like,
Yeah, they're a really dope label.
I'm just curious, like, what is your vision for your career? So you started it off. I hear you got them love songs with a little bit of edge to them, a little bit of edge, makes them a
Yeah,
little more interesting to listen to. But like, what do you see for yourself, like in the big picture? What's the dream?
in the big picture. Um, I don't know, like, well, I do know, but I mean, like for me, I view music as something that's always been there in my life, and that's always been kind of a part of me, and I really want to see myself be involved in music in a way where it helps me to not, it's not just or like a hobby or a passion. It's something that really helps me to live my best life and benefits my future and my family and things like that. Like I don't want to just do music for clout. I don't care if I have, you know, a cajillion followers. If people are listening to me and they're catching a vibe and they're relating to my music and they're helping me make money, then you know, that's what my drive and my vision is. Of course, everybody I feel like wants fame. Everybody wants to be famous. Like it's natural, it's a human thing, but I feel like I'm not into music for fame. I truly love creation, and I feel like if I can make a career out of creating, just like my brother did, like that's what I want to do over working a regular job.
Yeah, I definitely empathize with that situation. I like the fact that you like just kind of recognize that it does require that other element of it, like kind of make money on this. It's not just like
Mm-hmm.
creating the art, because it is simple to just create art and put it out into the world, but that's not like a fully sustainable habit. Um,
Yeah,
so I mean, have you performed a lot, like since you've
I
started doing
performed
your
a
thing?
few times. Yeah, I performed a few times. Um, I went on a small tour with my friend Destiny. So I opened for one of her shows before. And then before I left to LA, I tried to host a couple of my own small events, but nothing major, like no South by Southwest, no big festivals like that as of yet, just because it's been COVID. So, but next year in the spring, I definitely plan to do more performances because that's my fave. Like, I really love performance. I love shows. I love dressing up, getting my makeup done, and just going on stage and banging it out and looking sexy like Beyonce. That's actually my alter ego's Beyonce. Like, you can ask about it. I have friends and they'll tell you, like, when it gets to that time, Beyonce comes out and she's ready to go off on stage.
That's amazing. So you basically create this whole vibe so that your performance is next level with it.
Yeah, well, that's the plan. Like, when I come out in April and do some more shows, I plan to come out in a very dramatic way.
Um, do you practice this stuff? Like, do you have like a choreograph to all your music? Like, do you put time and effort into that kind of thing?
Like choreography and dancing.
Yeah.
Um, So far, no, but I haven't really wrote any dance tracks for real that I've had to make a dance to. But I mean, I feel like everybody who makes music has their practice in the mirrors and the showers and the windows and any reflective surface that they can.
Yes, that is very fucking fair. Oh man, that's cool. So like, so you basically you were dancing for a minute, so you already got the skill set in this. Like you already know how to dance. You've done the video thing, which is crazy. What would be like your dream music video? Like if you could have all the budget in the world, what would you do with that?
Hmm. What would I do with that? I think I would go somewhere dope, like somewhere like real poor, like a third world country, and throw a bunch of money. Just throw it on everybody.
That is that's an amazing
That would be
concept.
like if I had a real high budget video, I think that's what I would do, kind of like Drake's God's plan, but I would just go somewhere real poor where they need it,
And make
and
it
I'd be
rain.
like, I'd make it rain everywhere, like a crazy place.
That's incredible. That's a good part. Like that's. Have you traveled a lot?
Yeah, I like to travel. I traveled a little bit in my 20s. I'm only 25, but I traveled a little bit before COVID, and I traveled like mostly to the States, and I've been to Europe too and the Caribbean, but I haven't gone anywhere cool like Egypt. I would love to go to Dubai, like places like that.
That's cool. What makes you want to go there?
hmm Egypt, I just think the history and the culture of Egypt is dope. And Dubai, it's just completely different than Canada. Like I heard, at least the cars are nice. The rich live there. Like it's a very high class place that you want to visit and see. I'm all about spontaneous and experiences that educate you and teach you how to, conduct yourself in different types of situations.
That was a really interesting statement. So you want to have experiences that teach you how to elevate your circumstances.
Yeah, period. I think that's why you should want to travel because you should want to get to know other people's cultures. You should want to expand that way. And, it's out of respect too. Like when people are talking to you, especially in Toronto, where we're so diverse and multicultural, You almost want to know a little more about where they come from, or you want to have an experience so that you can relate better, and so that they can, they can have almost like a family bond or a trust with you.
That's wild. So the more you know about culture, the easier it is to get people to work with you and whatnot.
Yeah, well, it's just like people will like you because right? It's like when you go to France or somewhere and you speak French, they're going to automatically like you more because you know
Mm.
something about them. You can relate to them in that type of way, right? When I went to France, I didn't know a lick of French, so they didn't really like me like that.
That's amazing. If I speak French in France, they know I'm from Quebec, and it's a very mixed bag.
Oh, for real? I thought that they would like y'all more because you spoke French.
So I did customer service for a minute, talking to France people, and I learned right quick, like, because there's different layers to it. But like, you got snobby France. Snobby France feels like Quebec French is dirty French. So I used to
Oh.
have people say shit like, "Can I speak to somebody who really speaks French, please?" And I'm like, "Oh, oh." And yeah, no,
Well, what do you expect? It's France. It's so beautiful there. Like, you can't even expect less. Like,
oh,
they're
it
gonna
is,
be like, "Oh, you guys are trying to bite our swag for real."
which is fair. And I'm gonna be, yeah, Paris. Go. We had somebody in the comments. Snobby France is actually Paris, and I didn't want to say it, but in my head I was thinking Parisian. But like the rest of France is apparently super cool. And then somebody's like Quebec French is better. I'm like, I don't know which is better, but in my opinion,
Isn't Quebec French like mixed with English? Like, is it called Francophone or something? I don't know much
there
about Quebec
is
French.
there is definitely like a common sense of in the street English French hybrid that I think everyone understands. Like I think people, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not like a real language. It's just people are so used to like I'll speak French until that English word and I don't know it, so I'll throw the English word in, and people will do it in the other language. But Quebec French is like rough. It's got a rougher vibe to it. It's more like consonant heavy, and France French is airier. I find it really hard to speak in that accent in French because I'm more used to the consonant side of it. But like, it's almost like France is more nasally in its delivery, and
Hmm.
Quebec is not quite like that. I find it's more like closer to English in its accent delivery and pronunciation and shit. But I'm also speaking mad anecdotally, so internet and people who also speak French better don't hold me against that. I'm English in Quebec. It's not the full like French in Quebec
Right. Don't hold me
experience.
against it either. I still love y'all.
No, I fucks with
I
France
don't
though.
understand, but I still love y'all.
Quebec's a vibe. That's what I could say about that. It's a vibe. Good, bad, love it or hate it. It's a vibe. Um, but so when it comes down to like other stuff in your life, I mean, I assume you must have other passions and desires going on. Do you like plan on pursuing things more than music? Like Beyonce, a mogul. She does like everything.
Yeah, man, of course. Like, I love business. I love anything entrepreneurial. Um, I love clothing. I love like makeup. I love all of that stuff. But as far as starting anything else at the moment, I'm not really thinking about that. I'm just kind of trying to pursue music, and once I build something in music, then I can do other things after that. But I'm also a mortgage broker. I broker mortgages too, so
I mean, that's a
for
whole
now
other
I'm doing
flex.
okay.
Yeah, I've heard mortgage brokeraging is pretty good if you're good at it.
Yeah, if you're good at it, it can be good. If you're not good at sales, then I don't know if it's the best.
No, it's extremely hard sales. That's how I look at it. But
Mm-hmm.
you get to go to like fancy places. They get to like deal with like big fancy houses.
Yeah, like if that's the type of lane that you're into, you can definitely go to some big, nice places, go to fancy houses, do the open house thing. Like, there's a lot of opportunities in brokering, but it's not like music. You'd rather go to a big, fancy party and like chill with Drake or something.
That is true. Have you seen Drake before? Like, it's like if you're in Toronto, like from my Montreal perspective, I just like feel like you just run into Drake sometimes, like you would run into Maury or something in New York City.
No, haven't run into Drake yet, but I'm hoping I see him at 7 a.m. on the bridle path. So
I have no idea what a battle path is.
you never heard 7 a.m. on the Bridle Path, his new song?
Oh, I listened to the whole album, but then there's still yo, it's a lot to listen to, right? Like, so I end up in a position where it's more important that I listen to Shay 24K today than Drake, to be honest. So if I had to pick,
Well,
like, I had to prioritize based off of, in a lot of cases, who I'm going to talk to. So I heard the album, but if you were to ask me what any of the songs' names are, I could not tell you right now.
well, Drake has this song called 7 a.m. on the Bridle Path. So that's why I was like, I'm hoping to see him at 7 a.m. on the Bridle Path because I'll be waiting,
Mm.
Drake, if you're out there.
I would love Drake to find my video. I'm not even going to lie. That would be fun. But
We're coming to meet you 7 a.m. on the Bridle Path, man.
so what's the Toronto scene like? Like, I don't know a lot about Toronto except that it's very large and that not everything in Toronto is Toronto, and there's other things attached to it that are also Toronto. But like, what's the
Like
scene
the
like? Like
other
Mississauga is
suburbs?
and all that stuff. Like when I thought about it, I'm like, isn't Mississauga Toronto? And they're like, no, they're separate things, but they're part of the greater Toronto area according to Google.
Yeah.
So it gets not as simple for me.
I would still consider it Toronto, Mississauga, Scarborough. I feel like those places are still Toronto. I feel like when you get out deep to like Oshawa, Bowmanville, Whitby, like those become less Toronto.
Hmm.
Like Hamilton, that's less Toronto. But Toronto's dope. I love it here. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of things that could be better. I mean, I really wish that Toronto would be more open to working with each other and putting each other on as a team, like how they kind of do it in Atlanta and other places that we see. Like Toronto has so much good. It has so much potential. There's so much talent here. And I just feel like if we could let down or let go of that screw face mentality, that we'd be able to push ourselves a lot farther.
It's wild how pretty much you talk to somebody from everywhere that's not Atlanta or the Bay Area, and you get the exact same like that. Everyone kind of says that pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, well, because you see it and it works for them, right? Like teamwork makes the dream work for real. And that's why I was so big on finding management and finding people who are down for you and actually believe in you. Because when you work together like that, like imagine that could be like 5 or 6 different people and all of their networks, right? All their connects. So I can see how it would push them further, but I know that Toronto, it's real politicky and there's a lot of things happening even between hoods and between like just people that you don't even want to really work together because you never know where you could end up. You never know what situations you could be in. And it's unfortunate because you look at people and you're like, wow, you're so talented. Like, I want to work with you. Like, I want to do things with you, but should I? Because you're involved in this type of lifestyle or this type of scenery.
Right. And
right?
And that transcends like beyond just some circumstances, which I know exist, but it translates to like everything in life. Like people make those decisions. Like I've had people be like, "Careful who you feature with." I'm like, say a word, eh? Like don't just say yes to everything. Just be wise about it, because even if you want to talk about the vanity of superficialities, people will judge you on all of the decisions and stuff you make. And so
yeah,
I don't know how to
I agree.
I don't know how to deal with all of those situations, but it's like if you're sitting here as an English artist in Montreal, you're almost going, fuck, man, Toronto's so much better because they don't have the French shit. And you almost like want to go to Toronto. Then I talk to people in Toronto and they're like, I just wish we'd all work together. And I'm like, damn, that's exactly what we say in Montreal. It ain't that different.
I find like Toronto people work together if they come from the same place. Like if you're from the same hood or you got a cousin like somewhere, you're gonna end up working with that person over some artist that you may have heard and liked but you just don't know, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's a personal thing. Like if you know somebody on a personal level, they might work with you, but if you're just coming into the city to pursue music or coming onto the music scene, then people they're not about it as much because they're waiting for their own friends to do it.
Yeah, that's a huge insight, actually. I think everybody's like that. I think what you just said describes a lot of challenge that a lot of people face with a lot of groups in all levels. Like, I'm talking festivals and shit. They'll go to their friends first, ultimately, on some. That's how it just works out. Like, I had somebody in Seattle kind of explaining how there was this situation going on now that the festivals were reopening. The city's kind of evolved in a more gentrified way. So the people throwing the parties kind of went to their peoples rather than maybe who they should have gone to best represent Seattle. And so like these kinds of arrangements transcends all levels. So it's super insightful that you're pointing that out.
Yeah, man, that's just what I see like in my own experience. That's how people have been with me, and I don't claim any hood. Like I don't claim no gang shit. And I feel like even people in the industry, they kind of just look at me and they're like, I don't know you well enough to do a song with you. Or and it's like it's crazy because it's like, okay, well, get to know me then. Like let's link up, like let's make a song, like let's vibe together, get to know me. But they're so against it because there's so much politics they don't know, and like they're like, oh, are you set up, are you this, are you that, and you're just like, oh, never mind then, don't even work with me, you got a
Right.
bad attitude.
I mean, the city sounds again. I don't know. Is there a lot of live stuff that happens in Toronto? Like, let's say in like a non-COVID environment, what's like the live scene like in your perspective? Just like even as a person, forget about being a performer.
Just like nightlife or
Yeah, like for like local music, like opportunities for people to come perform and all of that kind of stuff.
I've been to events and stuff in Toronto where they've brought up and coming artists. Like I think there was this event called Remix that I went to a few times. I've actually like come across some really good artists even just going to their events. Um, but as far as like big festivals and big events that would actually promote a new artist like me, somebody who's still coming up, I feel like it's still so limited. Like people they don't really see the potential of music right now, so they're kind of still doing like they want to host for the big guys before they do the small things.
Yeah, that's definitely. I think that's a universal challenge. What would you do if like how do you solve that challenge? Like in your opinion, how do you get people to like get more noise for Shay 24K to get to that next level?
I think that comes down to having a good team. I mean, like sometimes, especially as a woman in an industry that's so male dominated, I feel like sometimes you need somebody who's stronger than you, or you need somebody who knows the scene or who knows the industry behind you to kind of vouch for you and have people who may never have heard of you before take you serious. It's like sales. Like you go and you're selling an artist or you're selling music to somebody who may have never heard you. Sometimes people don't want to take you serious when you come to them on your own and say, hey, look, I'm an artist, I make music. Sometimes they want to hear it from somebody else. It's like a verification stamp almost, like, boom, okay, well, this person's saying that she's good, and that's not her just saying it for herself. So maybe I'll go listen instead of her just coming up to me on her own. Like in that sense, I feel like teamwork does a big part of that.
Yo, big facts. I feel like people undervalue the power of a street team. Like I was thinking a lot about music marketing, and up until the internet, like the street team was a much more literal thing, and now it's on the internet. But like that street team added that level of validation. If a bunch of like 18-year-olds be running up and shouting about your name, it's like you can't fake that.
Yeah. It's like it almost like proves that you're good, right? Like when other people are talking about you, when somebody else is talking about you, it's always going to come off better than you talking about yourself, because people are going to take that as bragging, or like maybe you think you're too saucy, like, okay, well, it becomes a competition thing almost.
Right.
But like when you have somebody to come out for you and be like, yo, this is my artist and I really believe in her and her vision and her drive, like I really think that you should check her out, you're going to be more inclined to do that, because you're like, well, at least she didn't she didn't tell me, like somebody else is telling me, and it could be real, so let me go check it.
Right. And you think that
Like I
just
didn't even hear, sorry,
so go on, what were you gonna say?
I didn't hear really Drake promoting his own album. I kept hearing it from other people, right?
Didn't he buy like a bunch of album slots around Toronto at Lyrics?
I think he bought like billboards and stuff. But was that him himself or was that
I'm gonna
somebody
say it
else?
was OVO probably had a hand in that, which I mean when you're Drake, I feel like OVO's an extension of you. So they just achieve
Yeah.
your dreams. Like I'm sure Drake was like or Drake or 40 or one of the other guys he talks about a lot. I'm not that up to date on the Drake camp. One of these dudes was in a meeting and they had like a meeting and they were like, let's run it. Like, but I'm sure he was involved in a decision that would have cost that much money. Yeah, because that's not a
Well,
cheap
I
one.
don't know. Yeah, that's true. Because even I know that he had billboards like in other countries and things too.
It's like, that's going to run you. I feel like the boss gets brought in and for, yo, I'm telling you, Drake, this is going to work. Like, it's more like
Like,
that's
this
how
is a
the,
great idea.
yeah, yeah. Or he
Yeah.
had the idea and they're like, bro, do you know how much this is going to cost? And he's like, I don't care. Fuck Kanye.
He's like, no, we're winning.
They did.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
But I don't know how that, yo, his marketing's on point. That guy is like, I got to give it up to
Yeah, like
Drake.
you don't have to ever see him really get on his Instagram and say like, "Yo, come listen to my album" or anything like that. You see his stuff and you just know where to go.
That's true. And it just, well, Spotify will throw it in your face too. Like, trust you ain't escaping Drake
Right?
that day. But that's like a league that's like reserved spots. I don't think like 99% of people could even play that because even like one step down, those guys are still promoting themselves a little bit more.
Yeah, that's true.
But not,
Everybody like there's a self promotion and then there's like I don't know, I feel like everybody was talking about Drake. Everybody's talking about Kanye. So like the more people talk about you over you talking about yourself, I feel like the farther that can take you.
no, that's facts.
Because people want you to be humble, you know?
Which is definitely the challenge of it all. Do you find it simple to
Mm-hmm.
stay humble?
Yeah, I'm not really a big flexer like that. So like I'm not into music for clout. I'm into it because I like to create. So I feel like for me it's easy to stay humble because when people ask me questions about music, I can answer it honestly because I really love it. Whereas somebody who's doing it for clout, they might be more of a flexer. They need to have that type of characteristic to them because they're not as passionate about the creation.
Right. So do you have any like merch lines or anything like that coming or
At the moment, no, I don't. But I feel like as I start doing more shows and being like more out there and growing more, I will have merch and everything for sale. It's a process, it's a plan, you know. You have to organize these things ahead of time. You can't just come out with merch and, you know, expect everybody to love it and buy it. That's an investment.
that's a huge investment. Yo, what's up, DJ Magnanimous? People are popping in. No, it's cool. Like I think your insight is powerful. Outside of music, what kind of passions do you have?
I'm really passionate about family. I really love family. I really try to do my best to be the glue and keep everybody together. Um, but to be real, like music is my biggest passion. I don't really think about much else. Like every day I wake up, I write music. Every moment I'm singing a song or thinking about a song or a sound or something. Like I don't really think about much other than music. I think like other than my family, music's one of my top things. Like music, God, family. Like that's my life.
It's pretty fresh. What's your songwriting
Yeah.
process like? How do you actually go about that?
I feel like my songwriting process is always different. More times I wake up real early, like 5 in the morning. I look at the view, I smoke a little ganja, and I start to write. I listen to a lot of beats. I save a lot of a lot of people's beats, a lot of music, and I just write. And I feel like too, a lot of my songs they pop into my head. Like, you know, when you're like in the shower and you're just vibing and you're freestyling and you're like, oh, that was sick. Like I do that on a regular basis all the time to the point where I'm like, am I even writing these songs? Like, did I hear this somewhere else? Because I feel like I know this song and it's always something like random or new. And so I got into the habit of like recording more references on my phone and everything like that. And after I started doing that, I started engineering my own stuff. So I would pick up my Pro Tools and I would start putting everything in and planning and organizing the layers and the sounds. And that's kind of how my process goes. And then after I complete a song, if I feel like it's something I really want to move forward with, then I'll take it to a studio or an engineer and, you know, get their input on it and see what it's like for them and if they have any insight about the music.
All right, so this sounds like super like nifty, right? So you record it all on the phone at like reference, almost like Michael Jackson style with the references or whatever. Load that up into the Pro Tools and effectively turn the ideas into a track and play with it. Do you over whatever beats you have? Where do you get beats from?
I find them all over. Like I look on YouTube a lot, but I try to filter out where I'm hearing the beats or where the beats are coming from. I don't want to go on beats that everybody has or has heard. So I try to stick to finding producers that are newer on the scene and who might not be like the most famous or might not have the most streams. And I try to work off of those beats. And then I also like I have a 1-2 producer or 1-2 friends that make beats. So I get them uniquely from their SoundClick. Like I use the internet a lot. That's a big resource that you can use. It's tricky because you want to avoid the beats that people have or that people have already written on.
So how would you actually avoid that? Like, cause that's I never got that into leasing. Cause one time back in the day, I put out a track and somebody's like, "You got it from that site," and I said, "Say fucking word! You said the site name." That was like a lot for me to process as a young person, and I didn't like that a lot. But like, how would you actually verify it anyway? Like, do you hit people up and ask them, or like, do you like just take the beats?
Um, I try to buy the beats straight out. Like if I hear a beat and it's new and it doesn't have a lot of views or streams, I try to get it straight out from then. Um, but like my writing process is generally real fast. So if I find a beat and I like it, usually I'm able to get it before other people do.
Mm.
And that's how I kind of like stay exclusive because I know that there's times where people like back in the day when I was a rapper, I used to hear my beats all the time. Like I've heard one of the beats that I used on a TELUS commercial. I was cheesed. I was
What?
like,
Wait,
what
say
the
a
hell?
word.
I was like, I wrote this whole song, me and my friend, like this was so good, and now it's in freaking TELUS and with the little gecko. Like I'm mad. So then after that, it was like, no, you got to be more particular about the beats that you're finding because I know other people have access. It's the internet. Everybody can go on there and hear beats, right? But I think in the future that to avoid that, I'm gonna just be buying unique beats like made specially for me for my own production. But for now, like the tracks that I'm making, they're like getting to know you tracks. Like that's what I call them because I'm still so new on the scene and people might not know that I'm an artist yet when they first see me. So it's like the tracks that they're hearing right now, they're all tracks that I've written like months ago or years ago even or even like they're not my best tracks. So if they do hear one of these beats on something else, I hope they don't hold me because I have new tracks coming that are going to be more exclusive than that.
I
These
mean,
are just to get to know me.
they sound pretty good. I found your SoundCloud and I found what's on your YouTube, and all of that sounded real good. So
Thanks.
I only imagine it gets better. It was like, no, like your voice is cool. There's a vibe to what you bring to it. Like it's got, like I said earlier, like that R&B kind of seductive vocals, but with like an edge to it where you sound like a real person. As
Yeah, I try to like talk sing or like make melodies that aren't too it's not too harsh. Like it's not too like you could listen to it to go to sleep, like a lullaby type of thing.
mm, I appreciate that. Who are some of your biggest influences now?
To this day, I still like the number one artist that I listen to is still Lauryn Hill. I don't know if I'll ever let her go. She's still my favorite. She's probably my biggest influence, her. But I hear a lot of Janae Aiko in my style. Like I listen to her too, and I like her vibes, and I feel like we almost radiate similar energy. But I like old school R&B. Like I like the Erykah Badu's, the Lauryn Hills. Like I like that type of vibe. So Mary J. Blige. Like I try to stay listening to that, and I try to make it more modern in today's time when I'm writing.
That's super cool. Since
Mm-hmm.
I don't know a whole lot about the Toronto scene, I'm be curious to know who are some of the people you think are worth checking out in the local scene that you know of that are dope.
Yeah, honestly, like even here, I don't know a lot of people in Toronto who are singing R&B. I know a lot of rappers. Like I have a friend, she's a real good rapper. Her name's Leah Desire. She's good. I like Tia Banks. I listen to her sometimes. But these are rappers. These aren't well, I don't know if they sing. Like if they did, that's good. But I really like their stuff so far, what I've heard. Um I like Smiley, he's cool. But I don't know many singers that are doing R&B. Um I like Division. He makes good music, Party Next Door. But Party Next Door is already out.
Yeah, like I know what a party next door is. I've seen his name before. He shows up on famous people stuff all over for a minute. I don't know if
Yeah,
he's as
he's like a
relevant
big boy
now,
now.
but like he had a run, like a run.
Yeah, and I think he's doing writing now for artists. So maybe he's still in the game, but he's just behind the scenes.
I'm sure there's way more like this. From what I hear, there's some lucrativeness if you can get like proper writing gigs like that. Like, and I don't know, I could see how that'd be fucking fun. Like just to sit there and write songs all day long.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have to put in the time to record.
I don't know. Recording's cool though. Do you like recording?
Yeah, I love it. It's part of my favorite parts of music.
What's your like recording process like?
My recording process is like my writing process, man. Like I get into the studio, I smoke a little weed, and I hop on the mic and I just try to blow it up. Like I just try to do my best. And I like the putting together of the music. Like I like going to the studio and recording because I like hearing the end result of what it could be. Because when you just record a reference on your own, you don't get the full potential of the song. So I'll just go smoke my weed, record my 1-2 track, and then I'll listen to the recording, and I'll try to make little tweaks and little things that I could do to make it better.
That's fair. How long do you think it takes you to get from a point where you like record a song to like being satisfied with it? Do you like go back and redo things? Like do you do revisions and stuff?
Sometimes I do. I feel like after I record a song, I try to like to do it all in one day because different days you feel different. So sometimes you don't catch the same vibe on one day. So I try to record all in one day, and then if there's things that I want to change or if something sounds off to me, I'll go back and switch like a little part, but I try not to re-record like full verses and stuff like that.
That makes a lot of sense. So when do you have new stuff coming?
Just now I have a few videos that I'm having in the catalogs, and I'm just waiting to drop them. So all of the songs that you heard on my Spotify or my Apple Music, more of them have videos coming out in the next couple weeks, couple months. So I'm really excited to drop those. And then I've been writing a bunch of new songs for y'all too. So those will be coming out in the new year.
Um, have you ever checked out Esperanza Spalding?
No, I never heard of that or them.
You just got a recommendation from the chat for that.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check y'all out.
That's super cool. So do you have like anything else that you want to share with the folk out there?
Mm, no, like I feel like I pretty much covered everything, all the basics of Shay. If you guys want to know more about me, you can follow me on Instagram. Ask me any questions that you like. I'm real interactive. I'm not a brat. So if you hit me up or DM me, I'll definitely say hi.
And
I'll definitely answer some questions.
and while we're here, do y'all have any questions as well in the chat that are watching? Um, but yeah, while it takes a second for that to like kick in, but like while that's happening, do you have any like timelines for like when new stuff is gonna like come?
New music or new
Yeah,
videos?
like the videos. Well, both actually.
I think I should have a video coming out in the next couple of weeks. I just seen the finished preview of the last video that I did. So I think I haven't set a date for it yet, but I think in the next couple of weeks, y'all should be seeing more of me on YouTube and on Instagram with the videos. And then I'll be dropping new songs just now. Like I write songs every day, man. So like I'll be dropping songs before you know it, before the videos even.
Right. That's pretty cool. That's dope. And definitely, are you trying to experiment with any new styles?
Of course, I'm down to do all types of styles: rock and roll, country, heavy metal.
Say a word.
I'm just kidding. Maybe not heavy metal,
Uh,
but
I
no, I'm down to be versatile. I mean, I could try anything. Like, I'm not against trying any type of song. So, I really want to try features with other artists, maybe even from new places or from home. But that's what I plan to do in the coming new year. I really want to work with some more artists and have some new bangers that are features with others.
That's dope. um, so what song should I bang right now to see your skills? Somebody just jumped in and asked that.
Tell them to check out Boom Boom. It has a video. It's a really dope video too. You guys can see me and my friends on YouTube, Shay 24K.
I'm gonna go link that right now for you so that they can see that. And then give me 1 second to do that. Have it there. It is a good video. I definitely watched that one.
I painted my butt cheeks gold just for you guys.
Who are three artists that you want to work with?
I definitely want to work with Drake because I feel like he's just cool to me. Like he's so diverse, he's so versatile, and he just has like he almost feels like an older brother vibe to me. Nicki Minaj for sure, because I feel like she can slay anything. And then I really like Frank Ocean and Jessie Reyes. I mean, I can't limit it to just three because there's too many people, too many different styles. But you know who I actually would?
Who?
Erykah Badu. If you're listening, Erykah, I really want to make a song with you.
That's a really cool one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That would be like one of those, like, you could die happier knowing it existed kind of songs.
Yeah, I'd be like, Erykah Badu, come to the studio, kiss me.
That's amazing. I appreciate you coming through. You definitely have a really cool energy. I really like your music and the overall flow you bring to everything. So thank you for coming through to do this. Definitely would love to have you back in the future as time progresses and you want to come through and share all the updates of everything that's happened as the world's opens up again and we can all start doing more real life adventures. I'm not exactly sure where Ontario's at, but I assume we're all moving in the direction of opening up again. And yeah, it was super cool to get to know you more. Like it's really interesting to hear your perception on the world. Like it's really fucking astute. Like you just come through and like everything you're saying is pretty like hard facts, and I really like that.
Thanks so much, and I appreciate you having me too. I really like this is one of my first interviews actually that I've been done. So I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you listening to all my craziness, and I had so much fun talking to you.
You're super entertaining to listen to. It was a pleasure, honestly. So with that though, I also want to give a thanks to everybody watching this, and Green Money Entertainment for hitting me up and being like, y'all want to do these interviews, and I'm like, say a word, y'all hit me up. That was cool. And so they set that up and did all the middle manning, which was really cool. So they deserve some props on that. But all you watching this too, it's super cool, because without the people watching, it honestly just does not have like the same effect. It's a little more like just, you know, a conversation. So it makes it cooler. And all you watching in the future, you're also special. So subscribe, like, comment. All the links are going to be in the description of the video, so you can, you know, click and follow Shay 24K and stay up to date with all the wonderful stuff. On that note, it was really a pleasure having you, and yo, live long and prosper, everyone.
Thanks so much for listening to me. I hope you guys have the best time, the best day.